Your attention, please.
Hello and welcome back inside the Park for May for podcast number 966, the Las Vegas Grand Prix review. This is Todd.
No, Todd, not now.
You know what we do on race weekends?
We watch one, then we talk about it. Then we watch one, then we talk about it. Come on, Todd.
I don't, that's just what we do. But before doing that, I typically have to go find a real race car driver.
Wrecked from out of the wasteland. He's bad, he's beautiful, he's crazy.
Hello, everybody. This is Paul Charles, the International.
Why, it's the sporting manager of the Aston Martin Heart of Racing team in
Yes.
IMSA and WEC. How you doing, Paul?
It is, and an old racing driver at this point, evidently.
I don't want to hear anything. You made it to the podium this weekend.
I did. I think, combine like three of those drivers, and it was my age. It was pretty crazy, but yeah, it was fun. It is pretty nuts. You count the years, and you're like, really?
Yeah.
Am I really that much older than everybody here?
I don't feel old.
I don't feel old at all. It's horrible, but
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah.
Fun to be fighting with them anyway. Yeah, it was good. Little nose to tail action.
Yeah.
It was in the top 5 and just nose tail. Yeah, all the way to the end. It's good stuff.
Good fun.
Keeps me fresh. Keeps me
Oh,
alive.
yeah. Keeps you frosty, Paul.
It does. Actually, it does help me because it does when I go back to our racing and deal with our drivers. I'm a bit more lenient or understand it from their point of view when there's issues or things that happen on the track,
Yeah.
So it's a bit more fresh in my mind than how great I was 20 years ago, I suppose. And I never made a mistake. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I was 5-time world champion in sports cars.
Exactly.
Me and TK were like this, TK and I.
How could you miss that apex? What are you thinking?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. Well, Paul, talking about exciting, we had
Glamorous.
Well, it was glamorous because it's, it's Las Vegas, right? And everybody likes to talk about Las Vegas. Who doesn't want to talk about Las Vegas?
Yep.
Yeah,
the crowd that didn't show up on Friday or whatever.
Yeah. That was it on Thursday or whatever it was?
Thursday,
yeah,
was
that
it?
was
Yeah, Thursday, I guess. Yeah.
pretty thin, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, I don't know, because I saw just before the race they were flogging $50 tickets to get people in.
Were
on
they really?
Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, they really gouged people at the beginning, and I think there's got to be a pushback at some point.
Yeah. I had some listeners saying, hey, because I was saying, well, is it the fan base? Are we, are the casuals, finding something else to watch, or what do you think it is? And several people sent me messages and said, hey, it's the ticket prices, dude, and the lack of access. Once you get in, they have it all like locked down. You can't go anywhere, and so that makes
it doesn't make it appealing to go, does it?
No, it wouldn't. No. It wouldn't for me, knowing that I could buy a GA ticket and walk around COTA the entire track.
Yeah, or you could fly to Spa for cheaper as well.
Yeah, right.
Might be a little more fun.
Right, that might be fun too.
Yeah.
But it was the Las Vegas Grand Prix. I got to tell you, Paul, tough practice sessions and quality sessions, the rain and cool temps. This may be one of those races where, for me, I think the qualifying was more exciting than the race.
Yeah. It was certainly eventful.
It was very eventful, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure I enjoyed it as much. I mean, it was really treacherous in Q1.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that's really making a good driver or a bad driver separation there. I think it's luck of the draw and where your car is and where the dry patches are. I don't know. It was a lottery for sure, Q1. After that, it kind of sorted itself out.
Right. It was pretty tough. Every lap was quicker than the previous, right? And that made for some exciting, right down to the end with Lando taking pole position and kind of Lewis getting caught out, by that, missing the green light, thought it was red, which was unfortunate for him. And I was watching him, even practice leading up to, it did seem to me that Max had pace here. The Mercs we know have had pace here. Ferrari seemed to have some pace here. McLaren seemed a little bit off, leading up to qualifying, but once qualifying and Lando threw down a pole lap, it was a great performance. Oscar only qualifying down fifth, so I was kind of curious about McLaren's ultimate pace. I think McLaren and Zach had said early doors, I think Zach had said, we this may not be our best track. We think the other teams are a little stronger. And then kind of leading up to qualifying, I think Sky had asked him if they'd done a lot of sim work overnight. And he said, yeah, and actually he felt like the team found a lot more pace. So,
yeah,
hard to say. Didn't win the race, but yeah, hard to say. This is the longest lap mileage on the calendar. It's 192 miles, roughly.
Yeah, you know what they should have called it? The Vegas 200. They could really encompass American racing,
Yeah, the Vegas 200.
Yeah.
I like that idea, Yeah. Just kind of meshing American racing, just slowly taking over the series as if the post-race fanatics.
That is right. Yeah, Bill Elliott come out, sing the national anthem.
Right. That would be good. Bill Elliott, awesome Bill from Dawsonville.
Yeah, get the race sponsored by like Coors or something. I think it'd be great.
VP Racing Fuel or something.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
Why not?
Gain washing powder.
Gain,
I don't know.
Tide.
Yeah.
Texaco car, Ernie Irvin. Why not?
Exactly.
Yes. So it's a tough track. You got low downforce, really makes it super tricky, Paul, in the corners. When you're that low downforce, they're trimmed out doing 220 miles an hour down those long straights, coupled with the tire graining issues and what a lot of teams are projecting the tire graining issues to be. And I was I'm honest, I was expecting some more issues during the race that didn't quite see the light of day, really.
Yeah, I think, they're always anticipating graining with cold weather on cold tire and all that kind of good stuff. But I think in general, because of the layout of the circuit where they don't have long sustained corners where you're really putting pressure on the tire, it's really straights and 90-degree turns, quick turn, not a lot of load put on them, that maybe they were able to avoid that period of the tire or not even approach it, so to speak. Yeah.
You think they I'm curious, from your perspective looking at it, and I obviously haven't done a hot lap around there, but from your perspective, what did you see as kind of the more challenging part of that track?
I mean, it depends on the conditions, right? We saw what was happening in the wet was obviously the braking zones are massively difficult. It's not like there's, when you're driving on a road course, there's a line that everyone brakes on, and you brake offline to gain traction under rainy conditions. But there really isn't that on a street circuit. It's all just trash. So they, it was real. I mean, it was super slippery. You saw when they went in the overruns, and they could just literally flip the car on a dime.
Yeah,
it was like a rink out there. It's so treacherous. So I mean, that was the hardest thing in the wet. In the dry, I'm not sure it's that challenging, really. I mean, you got to get the braking zones. Once you got the car slowed down, you point and squirt. So I don't think I think it's a fairly simple track to drive in the dry, which has led to good racing.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
If it's a one-channel track, it's hard to pass, etc., like this. But there's lots of places and opportunities you can get a good launch off the corner and all that kind of stuff. So it's just about remaining focused, I guess. You got a long straight, and then all of a sudden you've got to get through the turns rather than flowing track. But overall, I think it's not a super challenging track for a driver.
Yeah, I wonder if you get a real sense of a rhythm around there.
Yeah, it didn't seem too bad. It wasn't as bad as Singapore, but as weird as it seems, like that curve in the main straight kind of helps keep the flow going, even though it's a non-corner in the dry, right? It does help the flow a little bit there, and when you're coming down the back straight, you're just that's probably the only point of separation of flow on the track. But then you're so focused on the breaking point exactly. The rhythm doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting track. Interesting pomp and circumstance. I'm still thinking that driving the drivers all the way over to the Bellagio to interview them, then driving them all the way back to the podium is a bit of a non sequitur. And
I honestly, I didn't watch it because I've seen it the past couple of years, and it's been tedious.
Yeah,
and it just literally sucks the life out of the whole event.
It does.
And I don't know why they don't understand that.
I don't either. When the drivers get out of the car, you get Park Ferme, the cool down room, the podium.
Everyone's sweaty. They're going to say things off the cuff. You sit them in the Rolls Royce or whatever the hell they're driving in.
It was the pink Lego Cadillac.
Think about it. Pink Lego. Yeah. It just really segregates the race from the result, and so I don't like it at all. I think it ruins everything. They need to.
I think it kind of sucks a lot of the energy out of the moment.
Yep. Absolutely. Who's waiting around for that? Who wants to see them taking an Uber ride?
I mean, no offense to Terry Crews and all, but, come on.
Yeah. The excitable Terry Crews.
Very excitable Terry Crews.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about how they finished. Red Bull at the very top, sharp end. Max Verstappen P1, Yuka Tsunoda P12. Start with Max. Max had a slightly better start there, Paul, than Lando did, and Lando had to do the Schumacher chop, right, to get over in front. That put a very, very narrow entry for Lando on turn one, ran out wide, and Max pounced. Scooped down the inside. So did George Russell. So Lando, said it was, he effed it up and went wide, and Max got into the lead, and really from that point never looked back. Wasn't in any real pressure. I think there for a moment, George started to close down, but I think at that point Max was managing. He was, once he was out in the lead well over a second or so, he was sort of managing tires at that point. And then when George started to put a little pressure on it, Max completely answered to that. Ended up winning by, I don't know, what was it, 23 seconds or, a commanding win. So you got the win. And then you got the disqualifications of both McLarens, Paul. That puts Max even on the Drivers' Championship points with Oscar Piastri, and just 24 points behind Lando heading into the last two races.
Yeah. Plus a sprint.
Plus a sprint, right. What is there, 58 points on offer, right, left. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's a shoe-in by anything, but I think you count Max out at your own risk, although I would say that the conventional theory is that the final two tracks should kind of favor the McLaren car more so.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, the McLaren, they're in a they got a lot of talking to do. They got to really think about the next three races basically coming up, with the sprint included.
Yeah.
I think the incident at the beginning, I think it was more like old Lando again. I going into it, I'm like, okay, Lando's got a nice cushion. He can go two ways. He can be aggressive because he's got that cushion, or he can just ride it out and just not try to get no heroics and just take what he can get and just ride out the season and win the championship. I think he chose the first one.
Yeah.
And, because honestly, if you're in the run for a championship, I'm not sure I'm going to chop on Max Verstappen's nose at any point.
Yeah.
I don't care if Max beats me. He's chasing Oscar right now. He's not chasing Lando.
Right.
So I just think it harked back to some other races. Lando and Max have gone into turn one, and Lando's always seemed to come out on the negative side, and again it did. Again it happened, right?
Yeah.
Max had a better run. Lando did chop him, but then Max obviously jinked to the right to get the good line in the good braking zone, and Lando just kind of sealed his own fate at that point. And more unfortunate for him was that Russell got by him, and Russell, driving the Mercedes, was still a very good car to drive. So that was not going to be an easy mark for Lando to take off either. So yeah, I think Lando's approach needs to be so different.
Yeah,
it should have been different, but it still needs to be very, very different than taking that bait, or thinking you need to do something special while you're winning the championship. Just win the damn championship.
Right. Right. And it's an interesting, thing for Max, because he's got nothing to lose, absolutely zero,
Nothing.
And so now he heads into the final 2 races just 24 points behind Lando,
Yeah.
And McLaren, in the
he
past,
was 100 points behind at some point.
Yeah.
Not so many races ago.
Yeah. And not necessarily under Zach's tenure at McLaren, but McLaren in the past have, sometimes shot their own foot, under the Ron Dennis era. But
right. Yeah.
Anything can happen here.
I mean, it's nearly uncanny when you look at 2007, right? Was it 2007 when Kimi won the championship because Alonso and Lewis were fighting each other and playing games? Obviously, the McLaren guys aren't playing games, but it's very, very mirroring it very much, and I'm sure McLaren hopefully are aware of that history.
Yeah, because Max, Max looked daunting here.
He did. I mean, Max in that car. I don't know. You got to say he's in the same wheelhouse as Senna at this point, in my mind.
It's amazing.
I mean, I know we don't, Senna's got the history, and some people never saw Senna race. I saw him race since he was 18, right?
Yeah.
I mean, phenomenal. I think he was an unbelievable God-given talent. But Max Verstappen, could he even be more of a complete driver because he doesn't let the emotions get a hold of him? I've never thought him in this way compared to Senna till now. I'm starting to think he's in the wheelhouse, man. I mean, we're seeing a guy that can do extraordinary things, and he's got a brain on him that can read a race and plan a race and read other drivers and work all over them, whether it's in the moment or over a season, to manipulate what they do and how they do it. And he can just do things in a car that other drivers are not able to do. Just look at his teammates.
Yeah.
When you look at Senna, probably people are going to hate me for comparing this, but you look at Senna, you see the onboards and everything, you just see everything he's doing. Unfortunately, the cars these days, you cannot see as well the mastery that each driver's doing. It's just not, they don't work that way. And no, they're not working as hard. And, the difference is obviously it's a different era. So it's not a great comparison because of that. Because, when in Senna's era, they were driving with manual boxes and just doing astounding things, he was. But I still think he's in that wheelhouse. I'm never going to say one's better than the other, but he's definitely worthy of being, on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Not Toto's Mount Rushmore. I'm not for that one.
No.
But
yeah. Hate to disagree with Toto, but disagree vehemently with Toto.
Yes.
About the Mount Rushmore. No, I agree with that. I think Max is just a superlative talent. And there's a whole throng of people out there that dislike Max and for a host of whatever reasons, and that's their prerogative. But to deny that you're seeing an exceptional talent, it's the same thing that you and I had when we were watching. Well, when I was watching Prost or when we were watching Senna, we knew we were watching greatness there. And it's the same thing for Schumacher. I mean, you aren't as big a fan as I was of Schumacher, but Schumacher was an exceptional talent. And we were watching history in the making, a GOAT, just what he was able to do. And I feel like that's what Max is doing, And we all,
No, he's definitely.
In this day and age, it's easy to throw shade on him, but you can't deny what he's delivering.
No, and I think, in the Senna Prost era, there were some really good drivers, but nowadays there's some really the depth is very strong.
Yeah, for sure.
Stronger than back then.
Yeah, for sure.
So You know, he's still doing it amongst a bunch of very, very talented people who can beat him on a good day.
Yeah.
You know, but Prost could beat Senna on a good day. So could Mansell. You know, he wasn't unbeatable. So
yeah, right. Yeah, same for Schumacher. Yeah. And you look at the other thing is I'm convinced you could take Max next season and throw him in the WEC series in one of the hypercars.
Yeah.
And he would just smoke people. I think he would. I think he would be really, really good.
Well, he would definitely be really good, and he could win races. I mean, I don't think anyone smokes people, but yeah, I mean, I think he can drive anything.
Yeah, I agree.
To the highest level.
Speaking of driving anything, let's talk about Yuki Tsunoda down in P12.
Or driving nothing.
Or driving nothing, which is, I think this is where this is all heading. The Uke started from pit lane, managed to make his way up to P12. He made 2 stops. But I think the more telling thing is this quote. I'm not insinuating. I'm just saying I'm going to read you the quote, folks. You discern what you think. Right. So here's what he said, quote, things didn't go the way we would have liked today, and I think I would have been in a lot higher a place without the tire pressure issue we had in qualifying. What happened in qualifying was a mistake. It's something that was out of my control, but it's very frustrating because until then, I was having a good weekend, end quote. That sounds like a driver who already knows he's on the way out.
Yeah, there goes the team.
Yeah.
There goes the bus.
Yep. So I would say that, stick a fork in him. He's done. Yeah. Let's talk about Grace's team, McLaren. You have 2 DSQs.
We're not going to talk to them right at the end.
I was going to.
No, we shouldn't.
I was going to, and then I thought, in deference to Grace, they finished here. I'll keep them where they finished.
Yeah. Yep.
So you had Lando and Oscar both disqualified over the excessive wear on the skid blocks. They didn't measure 9 millimeters after the race. I don't know what 9 millimeters. What is that? Like 62 feet? I don't know what that is. So
nearly nailed it.
As an American, we're on some newfangled thing we call the old English standard system, Paul, that your lot invented. Lando, very aggressive, trying to defend P1 at the start, ran wide, gave Max and George a free pass. Lando then managed his tires. At that point, though, he kind of held back, kept in some cleaner air, didn't rush it, managed his tires, and just let that race come to him. He got by Russell, and it was kind of like almost, okay, do you want me to go or not? What am I doing? Okay, his manager, okay, go. Boom. He closed Russell down in a big hurry. Had a lot of pace, but once by George, then all of a sudden he just slowed up. There was only 4 or 5-ish seconds between he and Max. They said, okay, let's go get Max. And then all of a sudden, I didn't hear the radio comms.
No, I didn't hear the radio.
I'm
going to go back and see what they were saying.
Yeah, he was saying, some kind of issue. I don't know if they were holding back because they knew they were having skid block issues or if there was another issue in the car. Not quite sure why that was the case. But here he comes into this weekend, Paul. He was set to take a healthy championship lead into the final 2 races, but then they had that DSQ, and now he's very much potentially in the clutches of Max and or Oscar.
Yeah. Could you imagine if Lando's car had been disqualified and Oscar's hadn't?
Oh, man. You know what that would have led to?
Controversy.
That's what that would have led to. But as it was, they had the whole...
Oh, Jesus.
That's what it was for Lando and McLaren. That was not good.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting thing. As I said, as a guy that works on a race team, it happens to every team on occasion. It's happened to us last year, and it was just a procedural thing. A piece of equipment was malfunctioning, and whatever, it didn't. you read it right at the scrutineering table, and it came back, and it was just a functionality thing. Was it that? Or was it that they were worried about Max's pace so much that they're flying close to the fire on ride height?
Were they sailing close to the wind?
Yeah,
it's a little too close.
Could be. I mean, they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
They shouldn't
be.
The max factor has definitely come into play if that's the case. I don't know exactly. It could be one of those two things, right? Because no other team had that issue. So you make that decision as a team before you go into the race. Okay, there's obviously an optimum ride height for performance.
Yeah.
But then there's a ride height that your car can sustain through a whole race with full fuel loads. And you know these calculations. So you either got your calculations wrong, the equipment wasn't working, or you were like, I think we'll be okay, but we can't let Max beat us.
Yeah.
So because ultimately what it should be right now is a race between Oscar and Lando, and no one else is in the game.
Right.
And both cars should be in the wheelhouse, easily safe on weight, on ride height, all those kind of specifications. You shouldn't have to, when you're really competing against other people throughout a season, sometimes you do run that close, just for performance sake. But if you're really just performing against your own other car, then there's no reason to go that little extra degree, unless you feel threatened by Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
So, I said, I don't know what the reasoning is.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
Get there. Okay.
I'm going to tell you because I've got a quote from Andrea Stella.
Okay.
And here's what
it's all going to be open to me. I should have read the notes, I guess.
This is utter transparency from the team, mind you.
Okay.
Here's what he said, quote, following the Las Vegas Grand Prix, we were found in breach of Article 3.5.9 of the technical regulations, requires a minimum of 9mm skid thickness. Car 4 was found in breach by a maximum of 0.12 millimeters of the rearmost skid, and car 81 by a maximum of 0.26 millimeter of the rearmost skid. During the race, both cars experienced unexpected high levels of porpoising not seen in the practice sessions, which led to excessive contact with the ground.
Right.
That's all it was, Paul.
Yeah, but if you're... then it's a team mistake. It's a setup mistake.
Yeah.
The other teams forethought this, right? Or, with the porpoising thing, sometimes it's because you're trying to bring the car down too low, right? Remember at the beginning? Yeah. And then they'd say, well, to get rid of the porpoising, you have to raise the ride height, but the ride height change gives you less performance.
Less performance. Yeah.
So what do you choose?
Yeah, it's such a delicate calculation between the two, right?
It is.
There's got to be such a window.
Changes.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable to me. Even on my side, we're doing stuff with the Valkyrie. What difference a millimeter makes. You got this whole suspension, everything's moving, shaking, moving around, and you're within these millimeters to make everything either good or the car's out of the window.
Yeah.
So that tells to me that they played it too close.
Yeah.
And
it's you get to adding 2, 3, 9mm into that Valkyrie. All of a sudden, the rear diffuser isn't as effective as it otherwise would be.
Oh yeah,
right.
It's cause a different animal. Yeah.
Yeah.
It took us all year to try and nearly sort it out.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
So. Let's see. On Oscar's side, Oscar had that collision with Lawson at the start. Didn't see anything. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. I didn't see any commentary from the team or Oscar about whether he felt there was any lasting damage or not from that collision. He lost positions, though, spent much of the race behind Kimi Antonelli, finishing 4th. With Kimi had that lingering penalty, right? He had that false start. And so they had boxed him. I'll get into Kimi's race in a minute, but he had that lingering penalty. But with the DSQ, that left him even. He's level with Max on points in the Drivers' Championship. Yep. And, he's been running with a spate of fifth place finishes. I was doing a little research on Oscar because I was curious about the qualifying down at P5 and that sort of thing, and I was trying to, and this isn't definitive research. I was just kind of looking back to his F2, his junior career, F1 races where it's wet versus dry, seeing, if there was a delta. I think the average finishing place was fourth across F1 and his junior categories on dry, and his average on wet was fifth. So, a little different. I was trying to figure that out because he had not qualified as well and wasn't as fast as Lando, despite the wet weather and qualifying. But I don't, I guess what I'm saying is I'm not knocking Oscar. I was just looking for, are there things about his driving wet, is there an explanation why this is kind of fallen off the boil? Man. Yeah.
He's not his skill. He's not his skill at all. And like we were bemusing on Lando, we were always like, it's not that he's not fast enough. It's that he's making mistakes and making stupid, or not stupid, but making errors of judgment that are putting him in peril. And that's why he was floundering to Oscar, and it seems to have flipped the other way in a different way, of course. Yeah. But Oscar's just kind of gripping that wheel too tight, and he just lost his mojo.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. I mean, it wasn't anything I expected to happen.
No, I didn't see that coming.
It was what we saw as a weakness in Lando, and apart from that little deal at turn one, I would say Lando's driving like a world champion.
Yeah,
has been for the past few races.
Yeah, indeed.
Right? He's got his head on his shoulders. He's got the pace, and he's executing, and he's not making any mistakes. And Oscar's just not driving like that.
Yeah,
I would have bet money on Oscar romping away with the championship 6-7 races ago till it all started spiraling downwards, and it has to be in his head because it's not like he's not good enough. So it's that he's letting his head get ahead of his hands.
Yeah, it seems like it. So he's got a lot of work to do in the next two races just to keep Max behind him, and then take the fight to Lando, right?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I think Max being so close is actually going to help Oscar, if that makes any sense to you.
Oh, yeah.
Because now Lando has to focus on Max as well, really legitimately.
Yeah.
And it may be able to give Oscar a chance to sneak ahead somehow.
Yeah.
If Lando is seeing Max as a bigger threat than Oscar.
Right.
Which he probably should do.
Yep.
So I don't know.
You would.
Yeah.
You would
he's got
view
the
Max
momentum
as a bigger
for sure.
threat. Yeah.
I would. He's got the momentum.
For
so
sure.
It could give Oscar the chance to somehow get back in the game. But,
yeah, agreed. Tough. Let's see. Mercedes, George Russell P2, Kimi Antonelli P3. George took advantage of Lando's aggression at the start, moved his way up to P2, was trying to put a little pressure early on Max. Didn't really work. He did radio pretty much immediately that he was having this recurring steering issue with the power steering. He said that it was effectively that way for the whole race. I think even JB, had commented on it about what that would do if the steering was heavy and
if it's intermittent or if it's too
intermittent.
Heavy,
You don't have that confidence going in that the steering's there, and then you overdo it, and it gets a little scary, right? But really, George said his bigger issue was really the tires. He was one of the front runners. He was the first one to box. He said when he came out, he thought on fresh tires is kind of the chance that he had. So he pushed really hard and pushed a little too hard. He kind of chewed up his tires, I think, a little bit at that point. Lost out to Norris in the second stunt, but had Kimi conveniently running tail gunner for him and was able to hold on to secure P2 with the McLaren DSQ. So, there again, I just, we keep saying this week in, week out about George, but he's just methodically this season, delivering in spades. And it was another good race for him, despite the challenges he was having.
Yeah, even if he is a bit over dramatic on the radio.
Yeah.
Oh my God, come on.
Come on, George.
Stop it. You don't need to do that. We don't need
movie
show heroics on the radio. But he likes to play it up a little bit. I'll tell you
he
that.
does. Yeah, Lando's really quick, but I don't want to do anything stupid to jeopardize a podium here.
Yeah,
I'm sure the team
doing everything I can.
Yeah, everything I can. Yeah. I'm sure the
tell
team
my mom I love her. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, intermittent steering is a scary thing.
Yeah,
I've had
that would
happen.
be.
You just can't fully commit to anything because you don't know what to expect. So hopefully it was maybe just an isolated place.
Yeah,
you could kind of be ready for it. But if it's happening, like just jumping around a place, I don't even know how you'd have had that pace. Quite honestly.
Yeah, that'd be unnerving. He said it was a difficult race. I'm so relieved to have finished P3 and added another podium to our tally. I had the opportunity to put Max under pressure in both stints, but doing that hurt the tire. That was particularly the case on the hard tire and made the rest of my race challenging, is what he said.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I saw it, George.
Yeah, it's like, did you have the pace or you didn't have the pace? Because I think Max comes out and he worked the tires perfectly.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't use the tire. I mean, that's part of what a driver does, right? Yeah, you could show off for 3 laps and say you've got the pace, but do you really? Because the other driver's not really doing that. They're actually doing the procedure with the tire to get the utmost out of it.
Yeah.
So I think it was a bit flattering to say that, but I thought it was a great drive by him.
Yeah.
And a great performance by the car in itself.
Yeah, for sure. And that was evidence really just from the car that Mercedes typically does well around Vegas. You had Kimi Antonelli finishing in P3. Kimi had that false start by rolling just before the lights went out. He boxed into the first virtual safety car for hards, and then the team had that dubious decision to make. Do they run long and cover George or box again? And I think by virtue, however the Mercedes strategists did it, they did an impeccable job. It was like, do you leave him out there? Do you box for fresh? Can he get back around Piastri and Leclerc? Will he have enough hard tire to hold him off at the end? I don't know. And it was all really kind of coming down to the wire. But the team read the tea leaves perfectly. He had a great run, kept Piastri and Leclerc behind him, and really. You and I were talking before we started recording. It was pretty amazing on that old of tires. When it got down in the last couple of laps, he just turned it on, was throwing in some incredible laps on used, much older tires to pull out enough gap where he only lost one position by taking that 5-second penalty versus losing both, So a fantastic run from Kimi. And, these aren't also Rans that were hounding him. It's Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc in very, very fast cars. And this rookie, a 19-year-old, held him off. I just think it was a fantastic drive.
It was an amazing drive, yeah. Did he do one of his pit stops under the FC yellow?
Yeah, he did. He stopped in the virtual safety car.
Yeah, he did, yeah. I was like, whoever was out there, they need to go. Whoever can get in. And he was especially... one, but I couldn't tell if he did or didn't. I thought
he did. He boxed under that. It did, because he boxed immediately under virtual safety car, put on hards, and ran him to the end. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that helped him a lot. Obviously, it saves you about 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And so that was a key call by the team. Honestly.
Definitely. Yeah. Great result for the team.
Yeah, I mean, he held up amazing in front of those guys. Just makes me think that the McLaren isn't brilliant running behind anybody still, which is what Lando had his issue running behind the Mercedes as well, right?
That's right.
So I think, they can get close, and Oscar probably had way more pace than he showed, but he was never able to do it because Kimi always kept it in front.
I think that's part of the issue, and that's kind of the conventional wisdom, is that McLarens run great in clean air and not so great in dirty air, and certainly kind of saw that right when George boxed and Lando was in clean air. Then he really started pounding out some laps. before he got up to max. So, yeah, great race. Kimi said, halfway through the race, I started to see some graining on the front tires. That made me a little worried that we would be forced into a second stop and lose positions we'd gained. I was focused on talking to the tires and just asking them to hold on. Eventually, it works. Yeah.
Is that what he does with his flower pots at home as well?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Good
right.
practice.
Yeah. Who knew Kimi can speak with inanimate objects? I love it.
Yeah. Maybe he has a rubber plant.
Maybe.
Maybe that's how he's
Eventually-
learned how to talk to the animals.
Right. Eventually, the graining cleaned up, and I was able to put some strong laps in and limit the damage. And that's a kind of exactly. I mean, he was just hanging on. It was hammer and tongs between him and Piastri and Leclerc, and he's hanging in there. And then all of a sudden, he just took off. So maybe the graining just worked through the window, and he had the pace.
Yeah, and it's not even just that. As I said, there's a lot goes on managing the power. The electric power. And where to use it, and you just did a phenomenal job all around. I mean, he looked a little iffy at the beginning of the year, and there was a lot of faith put in him, throwing him up there.
Yeah.
But he's last half of the year, man. He's sorting himself out.
He's doing great. Yeah, he is. Ferrari, Charles Leclerc P4, Lewis Hamilton P8. Lewis said it was a miserable weekend. I'd agree with him on his front. Let's talk about Charles, though. Charles seemed to have decent pace over the weekend and have typically done okay in Vegas. He got Piastri in the first stint. After the stop, though, Charles lost ground to Piastri and spent really the rest of the race behind Oscar and Kimi at that point. Yeah. And he inherited P4 with the McLaren DSQ. But I don't know that I expected more. Charles said, quote, the first stint was entertaining with good overtakes working my way forward, but after our stop it became more difficult. Our straight line speed was not the strongest, so it was difficult to fight with our competitors. That's kind of what he said about his weekend. But
yeah,
don't know. It wasn't a terrible race, but it wasn't a great race either.
It wasn't great.
Yeah.
It was mediocre at best.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about those guys. They're like fourth in the championship now.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not.
Lost serious ground with that.
Yeah, McLaren. I mean, Mercedes obviously made leaps and bounds on them this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and on Lewis's side, he had a lot of work to do starting from the back. I know a lot of people were giving him a hard time on social media and stuff, but I was kind of like, look, it was a chaotic qualifying session, and he came around he had the yellows just before he entered the final corner, and he had to lift, and then he came around. The light was still green. He technically made it, but didn't know, and then he backed off. And, it's just a comedy of errors, and the team probably weren't that vocal with him. And so, very difficult.
Probably not.
No.
Once again, I think the dynamic in the team is just poor.
It's odd
between Hamilton and the rest of the team. So sometimes
odd.
Teams won't say things because there's just not that rapport going on, and those kind of things can happen because they're like, we don't want to say interrupt because last time Lewis said don't talk to me in the corner or this. Those kind of things. There's just something going on there, and it sometimes it's a big issue, sometimes it's a minor issue, but communication is key no matter what. And your best friend should be your engineer, really.
Yeah.
And it definitely doesn't seem to be like that at all.
No, it doesn't. He worked his way all the way up into the top 10, and then when he got the mediums, they just didn't fare that well. It seemed to
they didn't,
struggle.
did they? Yeah.
No.
They thought they were going to make hay with the mediums. The hard seemed to be the best. That was the one thing about this track was weird. Is like the compound didn't show itself as you would expect. The medium just didn't do anything.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, the hard, in hindsight, if you'd, it's kind of what Bernie said on Sky. If you weren't mandated to run two different compounds, you'd pick hard for this race. But Lewis said that, and it started to make maybe a little more sense on the stint. I don't know. He said that, they got off to a strong start. and I was able to make up good number of places in the first stint. The contact with Albon in the second stint caused some damage, which affected the pace and made it harder to close in on Hulkenberg. So maybe there was some legit damage there that was just not flattering the car, period. Less so than the mediums, but could be. Williams, Alex Albon, a DNF, Carlos Sainz, P5. Alex had a bad weekend, period. And if I'm honest, they're kind of becoming a little frequent for him.
Yeah, a little bit right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He had a crash in qualifying, had that false start, had the collision penalty. That all meant his day was going to be very tough, but a DNF made it even worse. He said that he lost radio communication at the start of the race, and that made things even more difficult. But despite that, I do feel like he's struggling right now, and I'm kind of curious how much patience and tolerance James is going to have with that in the long run. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think James has a lot of patience and tolerance. I mean, he knows how good Albon's been for them.
Yeah.
Carlos coming in is just kind of gradually kind of building up his rapport with the team, and he's getting the results for sure. I don't know if Albon's feeling pressure or not. I don't, for some reason, I don't feel he's that kind of guy.
Right.
And I think the team isn't one to start pointing fingers and start not Red Bulling it. So to speak.
Right.
Right. So it just might, on occasion he's still doing well. I think it's just a bit of a trough, but I don't think it's necessarily anything to do that the team need to react to as much as he just needs to kind of maybe pull his bootstraps up a little bit. But I don't think Carlos is a massive threat. Carlos doesn't come to a team and give that vibe that he's there to destroy everybody.
Right.
He's more of a team player than maybe some other drivers would be.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a much better weekend. Terrific qualifying and good race result for some very serious points the team needed. He lost early to Russell, but was holding on to fourth during the first stint. He got jumped by Piastri and Leclerc during the stop, and then he got jumped by Kimi, who was on that long run on those hards. But, with the dual disqualification, he gained 2 positions, and it was a good race for him for sure.
Yeah, I wonder what he's thinking when he's ahead of both Ferraris out there on the track.
I know. And I was sitting there thinking, what a dichotomy, you're watching him come into Williams and see him growing and the team around him and him doing well versus Lewis going to Ferrari and not gelling and not getting the results within the team's performance window, right? It's quite a dichotomy.
Yeah, I was just thinking when Leclerc was chasing down Sainz, how no one expected that, right?
Yeah.
Sainz was like, he's going to be in the back marker team. Now I feel so sorry for Carlos. It's like, well, maybe I feel sorry for you, Charles.
Right.
We're on the up and up right now. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Let's see. Racing Bulls, Liam Lawson, P14, Isaac Hadjar, and P6. Liam had that collision with Piastri on the first lap, and that's a real shame. He had a great qualifying session, was definitely set to be running the points like Isaac was. Poised to have a good race. He boxed for a new wing, spent the rest of the race really trying to get back to the points. He said, quote, "I'm disappointed for the team today as the car has been fast this weekend. It was extremely slippery into turn 1, and once I committed to brake, the cars in front started checking up, and I didn't have anywhere to go."
Yeah, well, when you brake too late, that's what happens. I mean, seriously. I didn't like his move. I thought it was bad. Yeah. And I know you're racing against everybody no matter what, but to do that and try and get the up and under in the Piastri by doing that and having contact, I think that was not cool.
Not at all. Not cool.
No, I think it was a bad mistake, and
I do too.
He should respect the championship as well a little bit before he tries those dive bombs.
Yeah, agreed. I always feel like in those cases, I thought, well, he's up there, he's in the front. I always feel like he's going to hit somebody. I just do. I don't know why. And sure enough, he did. I was like, kind of saw that coming. Isaac had a better race, running in the top 10 for most of the day. He was running in fifth and hounding Sainz there for a little bit, but couldn't keep Piastri or Leclerc behind him, and inherited P6 really with the McLaren DSQs, but still a good race. He said, we were probably a bit too conservative on the tire management as we were expecting more graining before the start, when in the end it was a full push race. And that's what I thought was so interesting. And you mentioned that, Paul. It just, everybody went into that race really expecting those mediums to really grain out, and some had some graining and others totally didn't, and it was kind of interesting.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. So, shall we talk about Kick Sauber? Let's.
Oof.
Talking about another bad move.
Should I change my donkey award?
Yeah, right. This is pretty bad. Gabriel Bortoleto, DNF, Nico Hulkenberg, P7. Gabby had a good start. Came into turn one just a little hot.
He had a great start.
He had a fabulous start. Just coming into turn one, hot as hell, and made up several positions. And then he had just a little too much speed, Paul, going into turn one, locked up, and just took out Lance Stroll. Of all people to take out, because he had a collision with Lance Stroll in the last race, right? And
that's what Luizzi?
Yeah.
Said one time. Yeah, he made it from 24th to 4th. Before the contact happened where was it? Italy?
It maybe was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember Roman Grosjean having that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I passed 10 cars.
I passed 10 cars, couldn't stop, and I took 3 out. But man, I
checked up on me. What are they doing?
Right. Yeah. Why are they braking so hard?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. That was
bad. Very bad.
Yeah. Nico Hulkenberg, conversely, very good race for Nico. Scored again. That's 3 races out of 4 he scored in. So doing a great job.
Just when they thought his teammate was destroying him.
Yeah.
Back comes the Hulk.
Yes. The German back at it. He, like Lewis, both of them started opposite of the front runners. They started on hard, switched to mediums, running long. He worked his way up into the top 10 and then overcut Hamilton in the process and was able to hold Lewis off. So finished up in P7 is a great result. He said, quote, everyone who finished ahead started ahead and probably had a bit more pace. So we executed well to bring it home where we did.
I agree.
I agree with him. Yeah.
Great job.
Yeah. It was a great assessment.
Head and shoulders above the rest of the midfield, really.
Yeah. Yeah, he did a great job. I love seeing Nico be successful. He's a good guy. Let's see. Haas, Esteban, Ocon, P9, Ali Behrman, P10. Esteban made a long stint on mediums work, and I was questioning, boy, are they leaving him out too long? He was fighting, he's keeping Lewis, and Lewis is there, and Lewis is looking to pounce and trying to ease the DRS range. And I just thought, oh man, should they box Esteban? Are they keeping him out? But I think they did it right. And it worked. Kept Lewis behind him for a long time. After the stop, though, he came out behind Ali, and then the team swapped the cars for a good result from Esteban.
Oh, I didn't know they swapped the cars on purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because he said, quote, I think there were a lot of positives today. We executed the race well, but there wasn't quite enough pace for us to get into the points. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Good assessment of your race, Esteban. Ali Behrman had a terrific start, jumped all the way up into P7. I'm scratching my head over Ali here because he's been on a tear. He's been doing great.
Yeah.
Had some great passes in the last few races, just, letting the game come to him, not, forcing it. He's really honing some racecraft there. And but he got off there something. Then he kind of drifted backwards, lost pace, which was odd because he looked very feisty early on. And it just seemed like when I was watching, it just seemed like the car got worse as the race went on. And I was curious to see what he said about it, Paul. He said, quote, unfortunately, we were struggling a little bit with pace, and I couldn't really find a rhythm in the car. It was very difficult to drive in the low-speed corners, and although it did get better on the hard compound, I didn't change the aero balance. Which I would have normally if I'd gotten a good read.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in the pit stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe just due to the lack of running, they just didn't have enough data there to know what was going to happen when they did the switch the compounds, and some teams probably got it better than others, and it just wasn't an imbalanced car, so it makes a bit more sense at that point.
Yeah, that's why, because I was scratching my head. I just felt like he looked pretty feisty early on, and then all of a sudden he just kind of trailed off, and I wasn't quite sure why that happened. So now that makes more sense. Talking about trailing off, let's talk about Aston Martin. Fernando Alonso P11, Lance Stroll really trailed off for a DNF. Not of his doing, mind you. Lance clashed with Bortoletto.
Not of his doing at all. Yeah.
No. Yeah. Lance
was his rear wing in the way of a torpedo.
Right. Yeah. Lance said, "Quote: Unfortunately, I got hit at the start of the race, and that was it for me in the first corner."
That's right.
Yep. Sums it up. But Fernando seemed to hover around, maybe, possibly nipping a point.
He would be in the points.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. He got jumped by cars ahead of him, and then started on the hards, got overcut by Ocon as well, and this left him struggling outside of the points despite all the attrition and the disqualifications. Yeah. I'm a little surprised he didn't nip a point out of that.
Yeah, I am too. Didn't he also pit under the VSC as well?
I think maybe he did. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was a shoo-in for a top 10.
Yeah, me too.
Even without the disqualification. So, yeah, he just, second half of the race, he just went backwards.
Yeah, he did.
I don't get it.
No, I don't either. It kind of surprised me. And then finally you got Alpine, Pierre Gasly, P13, Franco Colapinto in P15. Pierre had real pace really all weekend. I thought he looked great, and it all came undone at turn 1 when he was punted around, ending his chances for a point. Or any sort of points finish. And that's a shame because he does well in Vegas. He has done well in Vegas, and I thought he looked really good leading up to the race and, even qualifying. But he boxed early, couldn't get the hard compounds to work well, despite the DSQs and attrition, still couldn't get into the points.
Nope.
You want to know what Pierre had to say about it?
Yes, I do.
All right, you going to make it? Do you need tissue?
I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I just need a drink of water.
Need the Heimlich?
You just tell me. You just talk. I'll listen.
Okay, you listen. I'll talk.
Keep talking.
Okay. So here we go, folks. This is Pierre's commentary on the race. Quote, "Our race was over after a few hundred meters today, and it is a pity we could not show our potential today. Bortoletto was overly optimistic going into turn 1. That's putting it politely. He crashed into Lance, who then made contact with me and spun me around, breaking the back of my car, and we had a lot of damage there. So that's, I think, part of the reason he couldn't he just couldn't claw back into any sort of points. I think he had a lot of damage in the back of the car, apparently.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Understood.
That's what happened to Pierre, and then Franco got caught up in the Bortoletto. There was a lot more benefactors of the Bortoletto, hot shoe moment there. You had Lance taken out.
He had to take a lot of people out for dinner after that one.
Yeah, he took Lance out and damaged both Alpine cars race. So Franco said it wasn't the best outcome in today's race after contact from behind at the start meant we carried damage and lost downforce for the duration of the race. So, yes, I would say that Gabby's on a lot of drivers' S list tonight. Yeah, not good. All right, well, let's give away some awards. We typically like to give away an award. The first one we like to give away is move of the race.
Seriously, Todd?
Yes, seriously. That's what we like to do. I think you and I are in concert on this.
We are on this one.
Yes. And who did you pick?
Kimi Raikkonen's. Kimi Raikkonen. If only. Kimi Antonelli.
If only we had Kimi.
Yeah, and the Mercedes team. That call for him on the VSC and then having him go to the end was crucial.
It's great.
Maybe even for
George,
the other car.
Yep.
Yeah, for George as well. Yeah,
I think it probably was beneficial to George, and I think Mercedes read it perfectly. I just think that was the move of the race. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Yep. George, I think with the issues he was having with tires and maybe steering, could have been a little bit more of a sitting duck for Oscar. And Leclerc, I think Kimi did a great job. There's no doubt that I think he was pacing things, holding off keeping things backed up a little bit, giving George a little breathing room. Then you saw it when they said, all right, push, boom. He pushed it and closed down George in a hurry. And so that made me think, ooh, George was having a little bigger struggle than I thought, and the team played it perfectly. So that was great.
Well
all
done
right.
to you, Toto.
Yeah, Toto. You and your Mount Rushmore. Give me a break.
Mount Rushmore.
Come on, man. All right, next award is, you know it. It's Donkey of the Race.
We'll do it live.
Oh, Jesus.
Yep. It goes to our friends over at McLaren.
It does, Mr. Plankware.
Yeah.
Although Gabrielle was a shoo-in up until
Up until
after the race.
I know.
I was like, he slam dunked it, but
Yeah.
literally.
I know. I was the same. I thought, oh, Gabby, that's Donkey. And then after the race, it was like, oh, dude, disqualified. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
How are you going to zack your way out of this? How's Papaya Rules going to get you out of this? It's tough.
Yeah. That was brutal. I feel it for the team.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Every team goes through it. This is just really bad timing.
Very bad timing. Yeah. All right, then finally we like to give out Drive of the Race. Oh, yeah.
Yes, I can hear you, Clem Fandango.
Get in there, Lewis. You like my bass? You like it?
Yes, we do like it.
We do.
All right, Drive of the Race. Who'd you pick,
Had
Paul?
to be Kimi.
Me too.
Kimi Antonelli.
Yeah, I picked Kimi. I just thought that's a hell of a lot of pressure on a 19-year-old young man, and he just performed terrifically. Yeah, I just think he did a great job.
As you say, the people he's fighting with have a lot of experience.
There was a ton of pedigree.
Cars.
Yeah, ton of pedigree behind him there.
Yeah,
for sure. For sure. All right. Well, we were like, you want to do some, we'll do some mailbag.
You've got mail.
We've got Andrew Page sent us a question. He said, hi, Tom Paul. It's a two-parter. Hey, Andrew. I hope you're both doing well.
I don't know about a two-parter. Is that in my contract? I don't know.
You're a one-stopper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I can't. I'm sorry, Andrew. You only get one question with Paul. See, if it was Grace and I, we'd answer both. But since Paul's a one-stopper, okay. Let's see.
I'll pivot.
Okay. All right. Let's see. As we approach the end of the F1 season, the question of Netflix impact on the sport's popularity has come up over and over and over again. And obviously, they couldn't have written a better script for this race. And some might say. He said,
unless this race they were focusing on Lance.
Right. Right.
You know,
right.
Because they don't pick and choose. They don't film everything. They focus on someone at each race.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
and he said,
from Vegas.
He said, it created a little. He wanted me to play the soundbite.
Controversy.
A little controversy. He said, I'd love to get your opinions on this. Allegedly speaking, of course. So, what's your opinion on that, Paul?
Opinion on the Netflix?
Yeah, the impact of the sport and the popularity, and obviously.
Well, you know what? Well, so much so that they're giving away Formula One social media awards, which is
for
influencer awards.
Influencers.
Yeah.
You know what would be awesome? Let's
everyone's influencing the sport rather than being in the sport.
Yeah, right. There's a big difference between influencing something and actually being in the sport. You're right.
Yeah. It's an interesting. I mean, we could do a whole podcast on that.
Oh my gosh, maybe we should.
But it has I mean, it's opened the sport up to a lot more people.
Yep.
And as I've said before, even in IMSA and WEC and all that kind of stuff, it has had an influence because people have now they're watching racing, seeing the many layers that it has. Yeah. And they seek out more other racing and maybe more accessible racing like IMSA racing and all that kind of stuff where, obviously we know Formula One is very difficult to get to, expensive to get to.
Yep.
And you don't get to even get close to the cars for the most part.
Right.
And so, but there's so many different levels of how people see Formula One. Some people that was their gateway to Formula One, and now they're following the season.
Yeah.
Some people still aren't actually following the season at all, and they're just waiting for the Netflix thing to tell them what happened.
Right.
Which is kind of crazy.
They're waiting for the show of Formula One.
Yeah, they're waiting for
actual
the show.
Formula
Well,
One,
yeah, it's like the real thing's happening. Yeah. But I'm waiting for the show.
Yeah.
It's like I'm waiting for Stranger Things to come out, and then Netflix is coming out soon thereafter, and so I can binge watch it.
Right.
That's a crazy aspect to it.
It is.
I never saw coming.
Yeah.
But there's so many layers to that Netflix influence on how things are actually going in the sport also.
Yeah.
But I said that's a big question with a big answer.
Yeah.
We would probably do in the off season, I suppose.
We should, yeah. And his second question is, I have a procedural question regarding race classifications and penalties. Is a race officially classified the moment the checkered flag is dropped? In the specific case where Lando and Oscar were penalized, were their points deducted after being awarded, or were they never awarded points in the first place? Am I correct in thinking that the results are never officially declared until all vehicles have successfully passed post-race scrutineering, which is a mandatory part of every event?
Right. Yes, you are.
Yeah, that's the latter's correct. Yeah.
They usually go through 3 stages. There's unofficial results, provisional results, and then classified results.
Yeah.
And some of them are do with things to do with stewards and penalties and things like that. Also, they have to wait a little bit for any other items to come up. Mm-hmm. Be it from a team where they're saying this or that, or there's like a time period they have to kind of wait out before they come officially official.
Yeah. So, and it's the same in IMSA for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the results aren't even official for like 3 days.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because as I said, it can be in the moment penalties, but also some outside things that can sometimes come up, so they don't literally lock them down till all those options of people to appeal or point something out or say something.
Yeah.
Till that time's out, it's not official. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Well, there you go. Thanks for the questions, Andrew. Appreciate it. You can send us a mailbag if you go to theparkferme.com. At the top in the menu bar, it'll say mailbag. Click on that. You can go and leave us a question, and we'll answer those as we get them. If you like this podcast, share it with a friend. Spread it on social media. Paul and I don't run around being 20-something influencers of the sport and that kind of thing. Exactly. So we could use all the help you can give us in spreading the message. We've been doing this for 18, 19, getting close to 20 years, so been talking about it a long time. A huge thank you to our Patreon supporters, because it could not and would not be able to do this podcast without you. If you like the podcast, give us a good rating on your favorite player. As always, if you watch this podcast on our YouTube channel, why not? It's absolutely free. Just hit the bell icon and the follow and the like and all that on social media. That would be great.
The hug icon, I love that.
The hug, yeah, that would be even better. So a huge thank you to all our supporters. Paul, we have no reprieves. It's back to back to back.
Damn it.
Back to back to back. We have 2 more weekends. We've got Qatar and Abu Dhabi coming up. 2 races.
Well, I'm kind of happy about that.
You're ready for the season to be over.
I'm ready to see what happens next.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. 24 points to play.
I'm binge watching the last 3 races.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah. You are, yeah. And I know McLaren won the constructors, but there's a very tight battle in there in mid constructors, which is worth millions.
In the paddock, there's a furious fight going on.
Yeah. So it's if you look at where Carlos finished, Isaac finished, Nico finished, all of that is a big deal in the points. And so when you're steeped in Formula One, I get a big kick out of watching that midfield battle. But I'm an anorak. I've been doing it a long time. So anyway, we will be back next week to talk about the Qatar Grand Prix. So please join us then. And until next week, when we do it all over again, this is Todd, a.k.a. Negative Camber, saying so long.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.